All right, everyone. So after the Battlefield 6 beta, we now have a Battlefield 6 community update, open beta debrief. This was posted on Steam, and it's going through some of the changes we're going to see from the Battlefield team, okay, after the beta. Now, the beta I love. There has been some criticism from some people on certain things, but they have a really good chance here to deliver a smash hit because people are looking for it, especially as Call of Duty continues to get more and more criticized. This is a big moment for Battlefield. So here are the changes that we are to see according to the thing. We're going to read the entirety of their post. Hello, everyone. Thank you to everyone who joined us during the Battlefield 6 open beta weekends. Your passion and feedback have been invaluable. With tens of thousands connecting on Discord to play together, over 600,000 hours streamed, and over 30 million hours watched, your enthusiasm and participation is what made it great. Initial learnings and in game changes. As we approach the launch of Battlefield 6 on October 10th, we'd like to take a moment to look back on their recent open beta to share our key learnings and in game changes we're making based on feedback and in game data. Weapons. We're making targeted adjustments to deliver a more consistent, rewarding gunplay experience. This includes a general pass on recoil tap fire characteristics across all weapons, further emphasizing their unique feel and improving differentiation. We've also made changes to encourage more controlled tap firing and burst firing, rewarding precision and weapon mastery. Additionally, the M87A1 shotgun now requires more pellets to secure a kill. We are investigating the time to kill and time to death experiences, and we will share an update if definitive changes are made in these areas. So, the shotgun thing, a lot of people were not happy about that. So, this is something that is going to be very, very, people are going to be happy about that, right? Making that change. Now, I don't know if they're going to talk about it later, but it doesn't look like they said anything about class specific weapon stuff. So that's one of the other big things people were upset about, and I don't see it in here at least yet. Movement. Movement mechanics have been adjusted to create a more balanced and traditional battlefield experience. Momentum, especially horizontal speed, carried from a slide into a jump, has been reduced. There is now a greater penalty for consecutive jumps, which lowers jump height when jumps are spammed. Firing while jumping or sliding will result in increased accuracy. Wait, firing while jumping or sliding will result in increased inaccuracy. Sorry, I was going to say, well, that doesn't make sense. These changes are designed to make sliding and jumping more situational, so they no longer ideal options for engaging in gunfights and will contribute to a gameplay pace that rewards skillful movement without becoming too fast or unpredictable. Parachute physics have also been retuned with reduced initial acceleration when opening the parachute for more controlled aerial movement. So I got to be honest. This is one of those that I think I could go either way on. I actually like the movement a lot in this game, but I do understand it's like you don't want to get to a point where it becomes okay. We have people, that like Call of Duty are coming in here and trying to play it like Call of Duty. They're two separate games, And I'm a Call of Duty guy, by the way. If you're to say am I a Battlefield guy or a Call of Duty guy, back in the day, Call of Duty would have come first. But I love this Battlefield game, and I play it differently than I would play said Call of Duty game. And so I'm okay with that. If what they're saying here is basically, hey, we're gonna make this more like the game that we're supposed to be, right? And not have people running like crazy and jumping around. Maps. We observed some players finding a way to reach rooftops and venture out of bounds. This gameplay is not intended for these maps, and the upcoming ladder for the assault class is also not designed to access these areas. We're actively working on adjustments to prevent unintended access and ensure gameplay stays within the intended boundaries. So, oh, okay. Okay, so that was just kind of glitches and stuff like that. We also heard strong feedback from players excited by the larger scale maps that Battlefield has to offer. While the open beta features smaller, more fast paced maps, larger scale maps are already part of our launch package, delivering action packed gameplay and memorable, unique moments for every player. As part of the upcoming Battlefield Labs testing, we will be testing two new multiplayer maps, one set in Rock Valley and the other a remake of our fan favorite from Battlefield 3, Operation Firestorm. These two maps include the full complement of vehicles like Liberation Peak, along with a more vast combat space. So this was one of the things I did think was a little bit unfair about the kind of critique of the Battlefield demo beta because honestly, and this is one of the things that I think is important to keep in mind is so they're giving us this beta to show off part of the game, and players love this, right? I love this. This is perfect. We can give them feedback. We can do all of this, but sometimes I feel like when we play a beta, people are almost of the belief of like, okay, this isn't the perfect game at this point, and so we're going to criticize it like it's the launch of the game or the full release. It's like, no, this is a beta for this reason. And hearing critiques about the larger scale maps, it's like, I get it, but we knew they had these in there, or at least I thought I knew that they had these in there, and they just weren't part of the beta. So I don't think it's going to be. It's kind of a thing where it's like, if are treating betas like they are the full launch game, then companies are just going to be less likely to like be releasing a beta, because if they feel like they have to put everything into it, then they might just be like, well, what's it worth here? I understand we may get some good feedback, but people like might just crap on the game before it's even launched. And I'm not saying you can't critique a beta. I'm just saying always critique it within the lens of like, yeah, there might be some things we want. These are the things we don't like about it. We'll see if they fix it. And then we're going to wait and see at launch if this is as big of a problem as we thought. Modes. When it comes to Rush, the conversation we observed wasn't just about player count, but also about how maps play and the tactical experience they offer. Rush is a mode with deep roots, originally known as Gold Rush and Bad Company, where matches typically range from 12 to 12, 12v12 to 6v6 or 16v16 players. Many of you remember this as the golden era of Rush, and it continues to inspire our approach today. This was another big concern people had. We've experienced with larger player counts over the years, such as 64 and even 128 player versions. While these matches created intense, fast paced moments, they also led to issues: overwhelming defenses, stalled front lines, and too many games ending in the first sector. Rush is especially sensitive to high player counts due to its tactical and strategic requirements. When a player tries to arm the MCOM while more than 20 opponents are defending, the intended gameplay becomes less tangible. Based on feedback throughout recent titles, we are lowering the default player count for Rush to improve the flow of combat and restore the tactical, methodical experience that defines the mode. For those who enjoy large scale Rush, Portal will allow you to experiment with different player counts at launch. In contrast, Breakthrough is designed to accommodate higher player counts of up to 64 players, and that's where the mode really shines. Using win loss data from the open beta, we're continuing to make map by map balance adjustments towards our goal of 50-50 win ratio for both attackers and defenders. So, yeah, I don't mind them doing this. I will say, and I like the fact that they do use the data, which is quite interesting, right? So, that's kind of where they're getting a lot of this from. But you don't want to get too analytical with this stuff either, you know? Um, look, balance the maps, sure, right? Make all of this work. But part of the problem, and I don't see this with, maybe they're going to talk about it further down, but one of the issue people were having is you just weren't being an attacker and a defender. Like there would be a lot less frustration if that was the case, where right now a lot of these games, you could go 5 games and you're on the same attack, or defend, defend, defend. And it's like, okay, that sucks, right? You want to get a little bit of both. So I don't know. Like I said, we'll see the fixes they make. But to me, it's like it's more than just like, okay, we have a 50-50 split win and loss, right? There was a little bit deeper of some issues with that. But at the end of the day, I had a ton of fun. The approach to player counts. There was some confusion around the number of players in different games, so we wanted to take a moment to clarify our current direction for how these games get determined. Rather than locking maps and modes to a fixed player count, our philosophy is to adapt to best fit the intended experience. This may vary by map or evolve over time with player feedback. For example, at launch, some breakthrough layouts will support 48 players, while others will have 64. It's one of the many factors we adjust to create the right balance and feel for each scenario. If breakthrough player counts Higher player counts work well on open dynamic maps, while smaller player counts offer a more focused experience on denser maps. Portal gives players the flexibility to try different settings and find out what works best for their group and play style. Finding the right balance is an ongoing process as everyone gets familiar with map size, lanes, and combat spaces. For now, we found that 8 versus 8 provides a solid starting point for a small scale, fast paced modes like Team Deathmatch, Squad Deathmatch, Domination, and King of the Hill. So one thing I loved was that you could play on the same maps in different modes. So like if you were playing like Breakthrough, I think and I might be mixing up some of the modes, but I'm thinking Breakthrough is the one where the whole map is open and you're just defending all these different objectives and attacking objectives at the same time. But then if you play like Rush on that map, it would just be one section of that map at a time. But it's kind of cool because you're playing the same maps, you're learning the same maps, and they're just broken up differently. And I think as long as you have a wide variety of maps, which they are going to hopefully have at launch, that this is going to be pretty good, right? Like that style. I really really enjoy that. Playlist options. A limited variety of playlist options were created for the open beta to both showcase and test the flexibility of the matchmaking system. For more details on our playlist adjustments, see our post about Open Week Beta 2 playlist options. Playing with both open and closed weapons will continue to be options in Battlefield 6, and we are looking for ways to keep them easily accessible. So, this is the one thing they've said about that, and people weren't too happy, okay, with how that was going. So, doesn't look like they're going to get too much clarity on that. We recognize that some players experience difficulty finding games to complete the challenge of capturing sectors and break through a rush. It wasn't ideal, and we're actively using your feedback and in-game data to review and improve the matchmaking system with the goal of providing a smoother experience in the future. So this is what I was just talking about with playing the attackers and the defenders. Like, they're just, look, I played a ton of it, so I had no problem getting any of these challenges. But I understand if if you're someone who's working, a 9 to 5 and you don't have all the time to sink into it, you might not be able to unlock some of these things because they did take me, a decent amount of time. Reflecting on the open beta and next steps, with the insights gathered during the open beta play sessions, we will be introducing in game adjustments in upcoming Battlefield Lab events. Stay tuned for progress, updates, and future opportunities to get involved. So that's their whole little feedback thing here, their post. And look, I think there's a lot of good here. And like I said, you got to give it a little bit of a break because it is a beta. And I think what I want is more betas on not just with this game, with all games. And so hopefully they take what they learned and they apply it. And we get, because the bottom line is there's a lot of hype behind this game right now. There's certainly people critiquing it, but that first weekend especially, there was so much hype behind this game, and there still is. They just have to deliver, and we will see. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.